Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. Hi there, and welcome to a brand new podcast, Charles Talks Comics. Hi, I'm Charles Herring, and I have been a comic fan my entire life. I grew up reading comic books, and not the comic books we get nowadays. I mean real comic books, non-political comics about heroes doing the right thing just because that's what they should do. But nowadays, comics have changed completely. It's a world where liberal interests have infiltrated the comics that we know and love, and we're forced to deal with that, and I'm just tired of it. So I've decided to do a podcast that's just going to be about the type of comic that I loved as a kid, completely and totally non-political. Each episode of this podcast, I will choose a different comic to talk about. For this first episode, I am very excited because I have a new indie comic that I only have the one issue of, and it is a special comic. It's not even released yet. It was the artist and the writer managed to get it to me. It's called the Just Us League, and it is a new comic, but it's based on the traditions of old school comics. It is a team book, which I'll admit is not really my jam, but in this case, I'm going to make an exception and start out with it because it is just a team book. It's made to be a team book. It's not a bunch of characters that are already have their own backstories crammed into their very own book together. So the Just Us League is a group of superheroes that live in a gated community together in their own home, kind of like the Avengers, and the Avengers live in a gated community, but they're nothing like the Avengers. They don't have liberal agendas. They don't have things foisted on them from the outside. They're just pure good American heroes. First of which is Acumen. He has the powers of knowledge, basically. He knows exactly everything he's talking about. My favorite scene from him in the first comic, a matter of fact, is he's sitting with his doctor and they're discussing vaccinations, and he's explaining to her with his power of knowledge that he doesn't need to be vaccinated, that it is just more important that he has the virus and he gets well from it because he's a superhero. I mean, he's going to survive. I mean, it's obvious with his superior breeding and health that he won't be sick and die from getting the COVID. We also have Captain Libertarian. Now, Captain Libertarian is a special kind of case. He is a very wealthy individual, and he gets this wealth as a self-made man. He has a company that he runs, and he's kind of like the Tony Stark of this thing, except he doesn't waste his time with inventing. He runs the company that his dad founded, and he knows that he got there by his own hard work. So that's Captain Libertarian. We have the Freedom Fighter 0045. He is battling the forces of evil online. He is just this strong person that with nothing but multiple types of Twitter accounts and Facebook pages, he's battling political evil. I told you this is a non-political podcast, but obviously, sort of in the real world, not everything is. There are things that are kind of political, but it's the bad politics that he's battling. He has an accent. I didn't get it, but when they accuse him of being Russian, he claims to be Ukrainian. I'm not sure what that means. Now his two main people he fights are the social justice warrior and liberal man. So non-political, no way whatsoever. The next hero that you'll run into on this is called the Fash. He has the power. He has something called white power, and I didn't really get that because I don't really think there is any kind of inherent power with white power, but he is just this really strong, blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy that he just seems to coast through his life without ever having any problems whatsoever. And then, of course, there's the Maskless Avenger. The Maskless Avenger is out there fighting for everyone's rights. He is fighting for their rights to go out maskless in this government-sanctioned, masked world. He's a true hero for this new time period. And then, of course, in the tradition of Jarvis, so as I said, some of this is derivative. It is a mildly derivative comic. They have a Jarvis type character, and it's a housekeeper, and her name is Karen. So the very first episode is all about a deed covenant because they're worried that the liberal Supreme Court has made this particular thing in their deeds in this gated community illegal. And it means that you can sell the homes to anyone you want, regardless of whether the deed says, no, it can't be sold to, I don't know, just to throw something out there. Let's say communists. You can't sell to a communist. I mean, nobody wants to live next door to a communist. They're going to take your land.